Today I'm speaking with Phil Bushey, who is a speech language pathologist, and he's been working in long-term care for a number of years. Phil, thanks for doing this interview with me today. I want to talk especially about hydration, and I guess more specifically dehydration, because I know that with the elderly population that can be a big problem. Can you give us a quick overview of what hydration is, first of all?
Certainly. In the long-term care facilities, the speech pathologist is often asked to work closely with the nutritional people for the older patient because of the fact that some of those patients have trouble swallowing. And liquids present a problem sometimes for people that have swallowing problems before food. So hydration is very important, and not only to keep them alert and keep their skin elastic, etc., 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 but it also provides them energy, because when you drink water it increases your metabolism and that gives you more energy.
Okay, so dehydration, I guess, would be the lack of having enough fluids
right.
in your body.
Our body is 80% water. Our brains are 85% water. So these two entities, the body and the brain, need lots of water. When our body is deprived of water is when we see a lot of ill or adverse symptoms that, especially in the elderly, it affects them right away.
Now, why is it that the elderly are affected, more rapidly than younger people?
Well, a number of reasons. The first big one is because as the body ages, all systems tend not to work as well. The body's metabolism rates, the electrolytes, balances, these types of things are heavily influenced by water. The best way to get water into the body is to drink water. Not coffee, not pop, not beer, but water. And so we encourage water. One of the big reasons, and you might touch upon this later, older folks do not like to drink water, or any liquid for any matter, is they do not want to go to the bathroom all the time. Well, once again, the systems of the body that excrete fluids and waste aren't working as well. So this presents some problems for them, especially if they are not at home.
Okay. I read a shocking statistic recently, and it said that dehydration is one of the top 10 reasons that older adults are hospitalized. And I guess when I think of dehydration, I think, oh, you're kind of thirsty, drink more water, but it truly can spiral into a fatal condition.
Yes, it can, and the one big reason, the one, how would you say it, the one reason or behavior that people get when they get dehydrated, especially older people. When I say older people, I'm in that age group because I'm over 60. But as you progress on up the line, it's even more critical. Dehydrated adults, depending on the amount of dehydration, one of the bad symptoms, or one of the things that happens to them is they become confused. Mm-hmm. They seem disoriented, they might get lost, they might not know what they're doing. You might find them under the kitchen table, they might be crawling around, they might be passed out. It is not a good situation when this happens.
Okay, and certainly that could be due to other things, but what you're saying is that dehydration really contributes to that.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to sound like, well, if I don't drink 3 glasses of water today, boom, I'm going to be confused. No, it's usually a step-by-step progression, or other things will happen as well. Mm-hmm. One of the things we look for in the skilled nursing facilities that I look at first if a patient is dehydrated is their tongue. If their tongue appears dry, if it's furrowed or has little fissures in it, like a dirt road, and is somewhat red and swollen, 9 times out of 10, that patient is dehydrated.
Okay, and isn't it true too that older folks don't really feel the signals, that a younger person's body might saying, you're thirsty, drink some water?
That's true. The warning signals that our body has for us when we are younger are not as prevalent, and they're not as intense as they are in the older patient.
And I know too that a lot of, excuse me, a lot of older folks are on so many medications, and some of those medications also, it seems, contribute to, becoming dehydrated.
Yeah, one of the big factors there is they have what we call a dry mouth. Medications will tend to stop saliva production. Well, as we get older, our saliva production decreases anyway, so it kind of aggravates a bad situation. And when they have a dry mouth, they don't really want to take anything in their mouth because it might hurt.
What can you do in the case where people just don't want to drink?
Well, first we have to establish and differentiate what's going on and why they don't want to drink. If it's an outward cause, like I don't want to go to the bathroom, and that, we can deal with that. But if drinking causes them pain or nausea or anything like that, then we have to work closely with the medical community to find out what's going on.
Is it something like just sucking on ice chips? Would that help to some degree? Or
when people say, how much water should I drink a day? There's lots of different things you can read about how much you need and so forth. A lot of it depends on how big you are, your age, your activity level, things of this nature. For example, a long distance runner is going to have to drink more water than I or you. Somebody who is elderly may not need as much water during the day because their activity levels are low. So I usually say anywhere from 6 to 7, 8 ounce glasses of water. You don't have to drink that one glass at a time, though. Go. You can take it, like you said, with ice chips.
Okay.
During the day, and this is what I recommend, small sips. Have a little sip here, a little sip there while you're watching whatever, and pretty soon that glass is gone. You didn't even realize it.
And that's where a good caregiver can really be instrumental, is they can just, remind the person, prompt them,
sure,
sip,
exactly.
Let's take a couple of swallows.
And whether your person is diagnosed as dehydrated or not, anybody working with the elderly should be schooled in how to get more liquids in them, especially water.
Does fruit count as part of our...
Sure. Fruit is heavy and
okay.
usually 70–80% water. Okay. Some fruits better than others. And if there is a real problem with dehydration, you might have a problem with another thing such as malnutrition that goes hand in hand with it. Mm-hmm. So you might want to involve a dietitian or nutritionist in your alleviation of this, whatever the problems are.
Okay. So if someone is a caregiver for an older person, what are some of the symptoms? I mean, you had mentioned the furrowed tongue and things like that. How would somebody know if they were in a dire situation that needed immediate medical help?
Usually, if you notice a difference in the person's personality, their orientation, the way they, quote, act, and there's no other reason you can determine that would cause this. Of course, many things can affect how we act, especially the older person. Mm-hmm. But if you're suspecting they're not eating or drinking enough, or they're not taking their medications when they should, those are things then that would lead you to believe that dehydration and malnutrition, they say go hand in hand, might be present. Remember, food has liquid in it. And some people might tell you, well, if they're eating their food, that's enough liquid. Well, it's really not.
Okay.
So in addition to the food you eat every day, you should have the 6 to 8 ounce glasses of water a day.
Any final thoughts that a caregiver should be aware of?
Yeah, I think it's something that if you're going to be truly be a caregiver to elderly people, you should research hydration and dehydration and know something about it and some of the signs. And of course, all of this information is readily available on the internet. Okay. There's just copious amounts of this stuff all over the place. But you should know some of the danger signs. You should know what to look for, because they could cause them to fall and permanently injure themselves, or even worse.
Right.
And so drink your liquids. It's good for you.
All right. Thank you very much, Phil.